Hey yo, what's going on with the viewers of the tube? Those crypto markets, they're feeling a bit saggy after a very bullish start to the week, falling down and hanging low like my jeans in the late 90s. And just like my parents would pull my jeans back up, I'm gonna pull up your spirits. You know our drill, because it's time for Chico Crypto. Well, if my prediction of a 60K touch is going to happen by September 1st, I'm going to need the markets to pull back up and pull back up quick. Now that prediction was a tad bit of hopium, but there is reason to believe the markets will turn back bullish and 60K could be coming at least by the end of September. Why? Well, it all comes down to Michael Saylor and his company MicroStrategy. Mr. Saylor tweeted yesterday, MicroStrategy has purchased an additional 3,907 bitcoins for about 177 million in cash at an average price of about 45,294 per bitcoin. As of 8/23/21, we hodl 108,992 bitcoins acquired for about 2.918 billion at an average price of about 26,769 per bitcoin. Dang, Michael, why you gotta be so bullish? Yeah, they hold 109,000 bitcoin almost, which were acquired for 2.918 billion. Their stack is now worth 5.286 billion, and that's a profit of $2.368 billion as of yesterday's prices. So Michael is proving he is the king Bitcoin bull who is using the strategy everyone should come accustomed to, DCA, dollar cost averaging. He's buying high and he's buying low, thus his average buy-in price is just above 26K. And with this chart of his Bitcoin buys, not including his most recent one, we can see that strategy much clearer. 7 of those buys are below the 40K mark, 1.634 billion all added up. And then 7 of those buys are above 40K for a total of 1.106 billion. Although with his most recent buy, they now have 8 buys below 40K for a total of 1.811 billion. 7 buys above 40K and 8 buys below. Dollar cost average game is strong. So why could the price recover? It was going down pretty hard yesterday. Well, now it's time to talk about the short-term effects of Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy buys. And let me tell you, the markets are doing exactly what they're supposed to do and have in the past. Now, it's been over 2 months since MicroStrategy made its last Bitcoin buys in June of this year, specifically on the 21st. They announced it with this document. They spent $489 million for an average Bitcoin price of just over $37,000. Now let's just go look at the price of Bitcoin when this was announced. The price of BTC was hanging on to 36K, but when the news came, immediate dump, down to testing 30K, not once but twice. Although by the 29th, just 8 days later, it had recovered back up to 36K. Although the dip from 36K to 30K was about a 16.7% decrease. Now we're not going to count the buys in May as Bitcoin was in a free fall due to the Elon FUD. Those buys in May are outliers, but we can analyze the buys just before this. And luckily someone did it so Chico doesn't have to. Thanks Eric Dobra on TradingView for this more than excellent chart. It's called the Michael Saylor Twitter Strategy Dump Pump Bitcoin. As we can see, April 5th, MicroStrategy announced they have bought Bitcoin, $15 million worth, average price of above $59,000. Bitcoin dipped immediately after. The charter predicted a 14% dump, but in reality it was near a 6% decrease. But then Bitcoin rebounded, pushing up to our all-time high of near 65K. March 12th, Michael Saylor announces another $15 million buy for an average price of about $57,000. Pump came right after this one, but then a dump from about 61,000 to a low of 53,000, a decrease of about 13.81%. The price did also rebound after this dump too, before succumbing to the next downtrend. A similar thing happened on March 4th, announcement of their $10 million buy, and then the price dipped by over 12% before rebounding and then pumping some more. And also just before this, on March 1st, announcement of a $15 million buy and then an over 7.3% dump followed by a pump. Obviously, this has been a pretty spot-on theme. Michael Saylor announces a MicroStrategy buy. Bitcoin markets take a hit, followed by a Bitcoin pump. On average, with all the data points we looked at, there is a dump of 11.1% after an announcement buy. Thus, looking at the Bitcoin price, since a high of just above 50K, about 50,300, to yesterday's low of around 48,100, that is a fall of only about 4.4%. That would be the smallest MicroStrategy immediate dump out of all the data points we looked at. So there could be more fall to come, as if it were to fall to the average of 11.1%, that would be a price of about 44,750. So don't be scared if in the next day or so things get bleaker for Bitcoin. This is just the dump that always happens. After the dump, there is a pump, and BTC has normally got back to where it was pre-dump and usually beyond. And I'm hoping that beyond is 60K by September 1st. But don't put your money where my mouth is. I'm no financial expert and just a dude on YouTube who tries to spot the trends. Although if September 1st doesn't happen, and I don't think it's very likely, I do think it's very likely 60K is hit by September 30th. Why? Because of the basic fundamentals.
Stick to the basics, stick to the basics, stick to the basics.
Yeah, you gotta stick to them basics. And with Bitcoin, it doesn't get any more fundamentally basic than the hash rate. The Chyna mining FUD smacked Bitcoin's hash rate down bad, from nearly 200 million terahashes to the low of about 58 million terahashes, a hash rate collapse of 71%. This collapse caused everyone to think that Chyna was fully out of the game. Bitcoin wasn't going to be mined in China anymore. Except me, I called that shiznit out as fake as can be. And now with the hash rate rebound to over 152 million terahashes, a hash rate growth of over 162% in under 2 months, this Chyna fake out is looking to be actually true. And now I have a little more proof that Chyna is still mining Bitcoin. Jack Dorsey last week replied to a Twitter user who said they're using Compass mining to get into the Bitcoin mining space. Jack said, "I'm trying mining with Compass mining too." Now, Compass Mining, who are they? Well, going to their website, they are a middleman company that helps individuals and businesses get into Bitcoin mining by purchasing the miners and then hosting them at trusted facilities across the globe. I wonder where some of those trusted locations are. Well, clicking on facilities, they detail them and where they are located. Scrolling through, it's not just one location in the Sichuan province of China, not 2, but 3 facilities in Sichuan, and they are fully booked and full of miners paying out to Compass customers. Huh? I thought Sichuan miners were being forced to shut down. There was supposedly a mining ban announced for the entire region back in June. It was all over the media outlets. CoinDesk, Sichuan becomes latest Chinese province to order Bitcoin miner shutdown. Decrypt, Sichuan shutdown order cripples Chinese Bitcoin mining pools. And even Gizmodo saying Bitcoin plunges as China's Sichuan province pulls plug on crypto mining. Well, obviously some of these mining farms are still operating. What is going on, China? Did you just pull a fast one on the West, contributing to the Bitcoin dump? Well, of course they did. These bans weren't really bans. The Sichuan FUD originally came from this Chinese financial website called Sign of Finance. And as we can see from the subheading, they were closed for inspections. Below in the article it says, on June 17th, a person familiar with the matter told PA News, the Asian blockchain think tank media, that the Sichuan Energy Bureau and the Science and Technology Bureau held a meeting today and made a resolution to clean up and rectify Bitcoin mining companies in Yan. So my friends, you can't always believe what you see on that surface. China and its FUD comes every year, with a big one coming at the end of every cycle. And believe me when I say Bitcoin is more of a threat to the dollar than the Chinese yuan or their new CBDC. Bitcoin is China's ally in the fight against the dollar, and they ain't gonna drop their ally but stack it. So I want to end this episode off with a chart which fundamentally points to this run continuing. As you can see, the last time Bitcoin got to 50K, the trend of bigger whales purchasing broke. It was only the small fish in the blue accumulating. With this recent run up and touch of 50K, the big fish are back in and they are staying around accumulating. And that includes the Chinese miners. Cheers, I'll see you next time.